everyone, I'm Paul the Nitro Skivers, and welcome to this edition of the Nitro Corner. Today is Saturday, and it's time for part 2 of our weekend report. As always, I always start off with the SmackDown report from Friday, and then the Nitro Top 10 for this week. So let's begin. We begin with, excuse me, while I get to my notes. First off, we start off with Mark Henry coming out there for a promo as he has declared his Hall of Pain. In that Hall of Pain is The Big Show, is Kane, is John Cena, and now it's going to be Randy Orton that will be inducted into the Hall of Pain. And he feels that he's more dangerous than he has ever been before. And I certainly believe in Mark Henry right now at the peak of his career. And then Zack Ryder, Mr. Woo Woo, interrupts Mark Henry and states that Teddy Long has issued a no contact rule, which states, according to the bylaws of the World Wrestling Entertainment, that if Randy Orton or Mark Henry interfere in each other's matches, and they did have matches that night, then there would be some serious consequences. So no rule, no contact whatsoever. Now, Mark Henry says that he needed somebody to beat up then if there's a no contact rule. So what does he do? He beats up Zack Ryder and lets him play, which leads to Ezekiel Jackson coming out there for his match with Mark Henry. And I gotta say, Mark Henry truly is at his peak right now in his career. He's more dangerous than he's ever been before as he inducts Ezekiel Jackson into the Hall of Fame as Mark Henry pins Ezekiel Jackson in dominating fashion. Very impressive from the world's strongest man, the master of the Hall of Pain, Mark Henry. Next up, the new Sin Cara defeated Tyson Kidd. Daniel Bryan comes out there and issues a challenge to Sin Cara, who states that he's now a new Sin Cara, more aggressive Sin Cara. And then Cara attacks Daniel Bryan from behind as usual, hooks on the label lock, and leaves Daniel Bryan laying. Yeah, Sin Cara, you may be the new, more aggressive Sin Cara, but the mask comes off when Daniel Bryan gets his hands on you, son. Next up, the women's title was on the line as Kelly defeated Natalya, the tag team partner of Beth Phoenix. It seems like Kelly is not intimidated by Beth Phoenix nor Natalya as she heads towards Night of Champions and a rematch against Beth Phoenix for the Women's Championship. Next up, Christian comes out there, Mr. Crybaby, Mr. Whiner, and says that the rest of tonight's card is postponed. Huh? Where did you have the power, the stroke, to cancel the rest of the card? He says that Teddy Long does not do him right by forcing him in the main event on Raw, so he gets FU'd by John Cena to get eliminated this past week, forcing him to get double counted out with Sheamus, and then leading into the cage match last Tuesday with Randy Orton. And he says he feels that he is entitled to one more shot. Oh, here we go again. Or does he? Sheamus comes out there. I love his opening out. Let me tell you something there, fella. He says, you'll get out of the ring now. And then Christian ends up leaving the ringside area, which leads to Sheamus defeating Wade Barrett on a disqualification as Christian interferes in the match. But Sheamus, once again, delivering the punishment to those fellas. And you listen up there, fella. The great white shark himself, Sheamus, scores a victory over Wade Barrett, takes care of Christian and his whine baby, cry baby ass right on out of here. Next up, a rematch from Monday Night Raw sees Air Boom defeat Jinder Mahal and the Great Khali, and now Khali has turned his back on Jinder Mahal as he shoves him to the ground. He's getting sick and tired of Jinder Mahal telling Khali what to do, and all that type of crap. Khali just swatted him out of the way. forget about it. It is over between Jinder Mahal and the Great Khali. It's going to be an interesting feud coming up in the next few weeks with these two men. And then the main event, a pretty good match. Champion versus champion as the world champion. Randy Orton defeated the Intercontinental Champion, Cody Rhodes. After that, Mark Henry comes out and confronts Randy Orton, and then Randy Orton violates. That's right, he violated the no contact rule first by hitting Mark Henry. That gives Mark Henry every right to attack back. He lays out Randy Orton not once but twice with 2 of the world's strongest slams. And that was SmackDown for this week. It was a pretty interesting show with great main event with Randy Orton against Cody Rhodes and Mark Henry taking care of Ezekiel Jackson and the Hall of Pain promo from Mark Henry. So overall, it was a pretty good show this week for SmackDown. And oh, by the way, just to let you know, next week a special guest will be on SmackDown. Former World Heavyweight Champion, the Rated R Superstar Edge, one of the newest stars of the sci-fi series Haven, will be a guest host next week on SmackDown. First time we see Edge in a WWE ring since SummerSlam, where he became verbally involved with Christian. Moving on now, it is time for the Nitro Top 10 for this week. So let's get right into it. Number 10 this week is Air Boom, Kofi Kingston and Evan Bourne. They made 2 successful title defenses this week against Jinder Mahal and the Great Khali, breaking up that team. Congratulations to Air Boom. Number 9 this week is Kelly Kelly. Kelly Kelly scored a victory over Natalya, but now has to worry about Beth Phoenix at the Night of Champions. Number 8 this week, moving up 2 spots from last week, is Gunner. Gunner picked up 7 important points in the Battle for Glory series, and now he'll face Robert Roode, who is now tied with Roode with 42 points, heading for the Battle for Glory series finale this Sunday at No Surrender. Number 7, the Intercontinental Champion, Cody Rhodes, who put on a good match against World Heavyweight Champion Randy Orton, only to be fell to the RKO this past week. Number 6 is Sheamus. Sheamus, even though he was double counted out with Christian in that 8-man elimination tag match, he defeated Wade Barrett by disqualification, and it took care of Barrett and Christian this past Friday on SmackDown. Number 5, keeping his spot at number 5 this week, is CM Punk. Great promo Monday night with him and Triple H and Kevin Nash. And then he defeated R-Truth this past Monday on Raw, getting ready for his match with Triple H. Once again, please, Lord, let CM Punk win. So Triple H won't be COO, the career politician, ever again. Thank you, Lord. Just want to get that out there. Moving up, keeping his spot this week at number 4 is John Cena. John Cena won the big 8-man tag team elimination match this past Monday on Raw and took care of Alberto Del Rio to boot after the match was over. Number 3, returning to the top 10 countdown, is Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson scored a disqualification victory over world champion Kurt Angle this past Thursday on Impact this past week. Moving up the biggest spots from moving up 6 spots this week. Number 2 is the proprietor of the Hall of Pain, the world's strongest man, Mark Henry. Mark Henry laid out Ezekiel Jackson this past Friday on SmackDown. Can't wait for the match with him and Orton at Night of Champions. And now, retaining his number 1 spot from last week, the number 1 wrestler in the Nitro Top 10 is the Viper, Randy Orton, as he defeated Cody Rhodes, the Intercontinental Champion, in a pretty good match this past Friday on SmackDown, only to be laid out by the world's strongest man, the proprietor of the Hall of Pain, Mark Henry. And that is your Nitro Top 10 for this week. And that's it for the weekend report for this week and for this edition of the Nitro Corner. Don't forget tomorrow, not only the classic match of the week, but the return of the booking sheet for TNA's No Surrender. Until then, I'm Paul the Nitro Skyler saying so long, everybody.